What's up, Hater Tots? It's your boy, PewDiePie! We're here to review some memes. Oh, wait, no, all I have is some garbage cards for you. Seriously, I saw some of them from today. They're terrible. Remember how I said they're gonna wait until, about the 9th day of spoilers to really show the broken crap because they want to give you false hope that the set won't be trash? Well, it's that day that falls between 8 and 10. No relation. So first up, we've got Sudden Breakthrough, which is very fitting for this set of spoilers. It's a 2-cost red instant. Target creature gets +2/+0 against first strike till end of turn, create a treasure. Yeah, boost deck, white-red boost, play it. It is broken, you will win with it on turn 4. Next up, Frost Trickster. It's a 3-cost 2/2 flying, and when it enters the battlefield, tap target creature and opponent controls it, does not untap during its next untap step. So it doesn't just tap it, it keeps it tapped. That's a frost effect as opposed to a white tap effect. Pretty good effect, but you need about 10 of them to run a viable deck, and we don't have it. Next up, we've got another archaic card, and this one's a lesson. Oh, here we go. It's a 3-cost, and if an opponent has more cards in hand than you, draw 2 cards. Draw 3 cards instead if an opponent has at least 4 more cards in hand than you. If either of those effects are true, they are going to counterspell you because they're playing control. Good, it's another rare low-cost sorcery that's also a lesson, so it's fetchable from your sideboard, but it isn't actually a good card. Next up, Very Blurry Kelpie Guide. It's a 3-cost 2/2. You can tap it and untap another target permanent you control, which is just asking to go in my Tap Dance Modern deck. And then we got tap it, tap target permanent, activate only if you control 8 or more lands, which you don't. And then it's not even persistent. It's not even a frost effect. Okay. So basically an activated ability doubler. I mean, it's still a 2/2 for 3, so it ain't that good. So you'd have to have a hell of a, broken, degenerate glass cannon combo that you want to go off twice or whatever. I think people would mostly use this for mana abilities, mostly out of standard, but we'll see. There are cheaper cards that do that. But anyway, next up we got Quandrix Campus. It's a scry 1 land. Oh boy. Next up after that we got Golden Ratio. Ah, yes, the golden ratio of 1 part owl to 1 part bear to 1 part wolf, aka the Fibonacci sequence. Anyway, it's a 3-cost sorcery in, the hell's their name? Oh, Quandrix. In Quandrix colors, and draw a card for each different power among creatures you control. That's what we needed on top of massive, massive landfall triggers and land dumping, like 2 per turn, land fetching, lesson-based land fetching. What we needed on top of that was card draw. Thanks. It's going to be that versus just Candy Cane Boost. I mean, those are going to be the 2 decks. Next up, Hall of Oracles, a rare, colorless land. Interesting. So you can tap it immediately for colorless because it comes in untapped. You can pay 1, tap it, add 1 mana of any color, making it a paid filter. I was never a fan of those. But wait, there's more. You can tap it and put a 1/1 counter on target creature, activate only at sorcery speed, and only if you've cast an instant or sorcery spell this turn. But it is free, except that you lose access to this as a mana source, so it really costs 1. That's like really actually decent. It's not anywhere near pushing it too far, it's just decent. Why can't they print all cards like that? Next up, Verdant Mastery. It's a 6-cost sorcery in green. It's a rare. I could imagine. I literally am closing my eyes. I refuse to read the rest of the card yet, and I'm telling you right now, I bet it has something to do with dumping way the hell too many lands into play. All right, let's read it. You may pay 4 rather than pay the spell's mana cost. And then that's just the end of the sentence. Okay, well, I think I'll choose to do that then. Search your library for up to 4 basic land cards. Boom! Called it. And reveal them. Put one of them onto the battlefield tapped under an opponent's control. Oh, okay. If you think that'll work, I swear to God, whoever's pinging me on Discord every 15 seconds, I am going to actually murder you. Oh, it's freaking Facebook. Yeah, shut up, Facebook group. I'm just going to mute the damn tab. Anyway, yeah, you got to put 1 into play under your opponent's control if you only paid 4 instead of 6. Then put, 2 of them? Hold on. Boy, this college is a very math enthusiast one, isn't it? Okay, you grab 4, you underpaid, you give 1 to your opponent. Great, fantastic. Then you put 2 of them onto the battlefield, tapped under your control, and the rest, also known as 1, into your hand, then shuffle. And then drop that into play, obviously, because you didn't, drop in a land for turn, get a triple landfall trigger, and then just win the game by rushing them with a bunch of 1/1 triggers because Felidar. Alrighty then, that's broken. Next up, what the hell does that say? Oh, Wizards suddenly remembered on day 9 of the spoilers that Germany was a place. Congratulations, good for them. So it's a 2-cost 2/2 Spirit Warrior, and then if you tap it, attacking spirits get +1/+0 till end of turn. I mean, there are better persistent boosts, but I think they're higher mana, so this might work. Too bad, like, the entire Lorehold College as a whole costs like 6 mana to cast anything. Next up, I don't know, Harana Hain Des Draken? Okay, it's probably Draken. Anyway, it's a 3-cost sorcery. Approach of the Dragon, which is what this is, deals 3 damage to each opponent. You may exile the approach of the this card and 4 other cards named Approach of Dragon from your graveyard. Oh god! If you do, search your library for a dragon creature card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle it. So all 4 of them in your deck have to somehow make their way into your graveyard, and then you get to free cast a dragon. I mean, that's an appropriate limit to put on free casting, to be honest. And it has to be a dragon, so, okay. But then a deck can contain any number of cards named Approach of the Dragon. So you know what? You can take that, shove it square up your ass. So 40 of these, 39 of these, 20 mountains, probably snow because why the hell not? 1 giant dragon, and then as soon as you get them out on turn, I'm too lazy to count, probably 7. I've probably already killed you with an ambush boost candy cane deck. Then I kill your dragon, and then you forfeit. Wow, interesting dynamic gameplay. Thanks, Wizards. F you too. Stop printing cards that break fundamental tenets of the game in every single format. We're all sick of this shit. Next up, Van Vorne Anfangen. Okay, I'm saying that super Spanish. Anfangen. So anyway, apparently that translates to start over. It's a lesson. They should have started over with the lesson mechanic. I do agree with that. It's a 3-cost red sorcery. Choose 1, deal 1 damage to any target or destroy target artifact. So, I mean, yeah, Swiss Army, cool. But like, is an artifact winning the game? Probably not. Not the biggest threat, but it does add to the number of blades on the Swiss Army knife that is now your sideboard, but only in best of 1. Next up, Akademischer Dispute. Like, everything's a soft vowel in German unless it has like an umlaut over it, right? So it's probably Akademischer, but like said with a cadence that doesn't sound like I just had a stroke. Anyway, it's Academic Dispute. See how much easier that was? And it's a 1-cost rare instant, Spontenzauber, okay? And target creature blocks this turn. If able, you may have that creature gain reach until end of turn. And then learn. But I'm still caught up on trying to learn why you would ever want to do that second part. Target creature blocks if able. Well, if you swung away with your creature, but now you want to like untap it and it gains reach, which is, that's a thing. They do that. Usually not in these colors. Well, this won't do that. So I guess you just make an opponent's creature block and then it gets killed, hopefully. Or you can give yours reach till end of turn. It's either or. And the way they phrased it is just the way they phrased it. And also probably not the way they phrased it because it's translated from German. Alemán es tonto. Speaking of Tonto Maximo, Verschwörung, what the f***? It just keeps going. How do you even read this language? Verschwörung Theoretiker. Anyway, it's conspiracy theorist, apparently. But Germany, in the name of unity and coming together in peace, doesn't believe in having words be separate, ever, under any circumstances. They will smash anything together. Boy, ever since they put up that wall and then regretted it, and then Reagan said, tear down that wall. And then I believe Hulk smashed through it with a mech suit. I think that's what happened. Ever since then, they're like, no, everything's going together. We can't put barriers between anything, even words. Even if everybody makes fun of our tonto language. Anyway, this says, it's a human shaman. When it attacks, you may pay 1 and discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Also known as primarily a blue ability. When you discard 1 or more non-land cards, you may exile that card from your graveyard. If you do, you may cast it until the end of turn. Which really is a distinctly red ability, so that's kind of cool. So you pay 1 mana, you discard a card, but that card remains in exile instead. Oh, if you choose to do that, to put it there. And then if you do, you may cast it until the end of turn. And then if you don't, it remains in exile. It does not go back to your graveyard. Do not screw that up. So that's kind of cool. It gives you a last chance at it in case you had to get rid of something you needed, in which case, why did you even pay for this? But I guess you want to attempt the 2-for-1 special, which is going to be a hell of a lot harder without, 1 mana that you just had to spend. Because now you're trying to get like 2 spells off or get 1 spell off while getting a replacement for it or whatever. But it's still a cool card. I mean, I think this will be... People will play this. It would almost have to be a boost deck because it says when he attacks, but I mean, yeah, that would work. Next up, Korea got mentioned. It's Impassioned Dust Speaker. So this is a 5-cost creature, Minotaur Warlock, 3/4. Whenever this creature attacks, you may put an instant or sorcery card from your graveyard to the bottom of your library. Okay. If you do, exile the top 2 cards of your library until end of this turn. You may play those cards. Well, play, not cast, assuming that was translated correctly. So, includes lands. That's kind of nice. Still, I mean, a 3/4 for 5 that only does this. I don't know about that. Maybe in a draft. Next up, Intervention of the Dragon. It's a 4-cost sorcery. As an additional cost to cast a spell, exile an instant sorcery card from your graveyard, so that is mandatory. Then it deals X damage to each non-dragon creature. Oh, great, dragon tribal, great. Where X is the mana value of the exiled card. If a creature spell dealt damage this way would die this turn, exile it instead. Exile Intervention of the Dragon, because if you were able to resurrect this spell, that would really be something. And remember, you don't need to meet that casting requirement to clone it on the stack. And yes, you would still get the Magecraft trigger. So, it might be all right. Hard to say. Dragon Tribal rarely takes off. Next up, Karok Shepherd. It's a 6-cost elf druid, 3/3. This is probably garbage. Magecraft. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. So in other words, Luminarch Aspirant, like 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 turns later, and with a condition instead of absolutely no condition whatsoever. No thanks. Go ride your little crocodile back to your swamp. You suck. Next up, Fractal Summoning. Oh boy, I bet it summons a fractal. Let's see, it's X plus double hybrid, and create a 0/0 blue and green fractal creature token, then put X/1/1 counters on it. Ooh, so the fractals are variable sized. That is not how I remember them being described on another card. So maybe there'll be 2 different fractal tokens, which you can't do that. They can't have the same name. Okay, now I don't know what the hell is going on, because I could have sworn they said create a 4/4 fractal on another card, not create a 0/0 fractal and then put 4 counters on it, which is what you would have to do, I guess. I don't know. I've never seen it phrased that way, but I think that's because they don't do it that way. Oh, próximo tenemos Vidente de Batalla Ogyar. You can't have 2 G's in a row in Spanish. What the hell is it? Agyar. Agyar my ass. They probably spelled it wrong. And according to the type line there, it's a Criatura Shaman. That was weird. Oh, pardon me. Shaman. And it has haste, and you can tap it, and it's scries 1, but it's garbage because it's a 3/4 for 5. Wow, great. Oh my god, did I actually say Agyar? Ogyar. Not that it's a real word, but if it was, it would be Ogyar. Next up, oh my gosh, English. Tenured Inkcaster, it's a 5-cost 2/2. Woo, I'm on board. Value Town. Honk honk, we're pulling up the truck. When Tenured Inkcaster enters battlefield, put a 1/1 counter on target creature. Whenever a creature you control with a 1/1 counter on it attacks, each opponent loses 1 life and gains 1 life. I don't think there's the backup to pull that off, unless you want to put, what's the name of that card? Luminarch Aspirant into your deck, into your black-white cleric stack. Hey, that's the 100th time I've mentioned that card on this channel. That means it gets an instant ban. Thanks, Wizards. Next time, try not to f*** up so hard. Next up, here we go, a green mythic with an X in it. Yeehaw! It's a 1 green, 2 generic, then X, sorcery, mythic, yay. Search your library and graveyard for up to 4 creature cards with different names that each have mana value X or less, and reveal them. An opponent chooses 2 of those cards, shuffle those chosen cards into your library, and put the rest onto the battlefield. And then exile this spell, because it's like the 9th spell in the set so far, just in the spoilers we've seen, that's so toxic that you can't let people repeat it more than once in a game. You know, that's a sign that maybe you shouldn't be printing shit like this. In fact, the last 8 years of Magic are a sign that you should stop letting people cast shit for free. So yeah, you go get 4 giant-ass creatures. Still, they have to clear the mana value, or be, under? Oh yeah, equal or less. They have to be under the mana value of X, which is 3 lower than this spell. So it's like, what are you really going to go get, and who gives a shit if you get them for free? That said, you have like 15 mana, which we all know blue-green is going to have. That's just how Quandrix works, accidentally, because of mostly spells from outside of the set. Then you got a problem. I'm surprised it doesn't say from outside the game, to be honest, but yeah. You go get your 4 biggest green creatures, which is kind of actually an unimpressive lineup right now in Standard. I know that from running Tybalt's turn 2 free summoning Hellhole deck. And then your opponent chooses the worst 2, and you keep the backup plan. I mean, it could work. It's not that bad on a super late turn. It's just not really that good either. I could actually see your early game going to get 4 mana dorks. I'm not sure that many exist in the game right now in standard, but I mean, that would be a thing too. But my God, I mean, you'd have to cast this for at least X equals 2, which is 5, which means you'd have to have 5, which means you probably don't need mana dorks, but I don't know. The very next turn, if they don't disrupt your board state, you could summon Ugin with it, so hey. I don't know. Interesting card. Definitely a commander card. Next up, Manifestation Sage. It's a quad hybrid, 2/2 human wizard. When it enters battlefield, create a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token. Put X/1/1 counters on it, where X is the number of cards in your hand. Well, I mean, seems like a control card where you're sitting there hoarding counter spells like they're, never going to be printed ever again. And then you get a 7/7 out of it, but like, I don't know, would you even need a 2/2 creature in that deck? Probably not. Would you even care about a fractal creature? Probably not. I don't know. This doesn't strike me as good, but maybe somebody will put it in something. Who knows? Next up, Zimone, Quandrix Prodigy. Hey, I said Zimone, not Shamone. Anyway, it's a legendary creature, human wizard, 1/2 for 2, and if you pay 1, tap it, you may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield tapped, because of course you can, and then if you pay 4 and tap her, draw a card. If you control 8 or more lands, which, yeah, you do, draw 2 cards instead. Fantastic! Card advantage on top of mana ramp. That never goes wrong. Let's mix in some free casting too. Oh, wait, they already did. Well, ban that pile of garbage. Next up, Quandrix Pledge Mage. It's a 2/2 for 3, double hybrid. I'm starting to think there's like 5 cycles and I just don't give enough of a shit to identify it. This is probably one, whatever, who gives a crap. So Magecraft, whenever you cast or copy an instant or spell, or whatever, sorcery, who cares? Put a 1/1 counter on this crappy creature. Yeah, that's probably actually worth playing in that deck. That land fetch and then your 2/2 like kind of, blocker just in case the hold them off card keeps getting bigger. I mean, that's a good way to get that going without putting in Luminarch Aspirant, which really should be banned. It really is an outlier. Next up, Eternal Masterpiece. It's a 7-cost sorcery in that other college's color. I guess this one showed up a little late. Create a 4/4 blue and red elemental creature. Oh, 2 of those tokens. Cool. And then you can pay 2, discard it, and create a treasure, because you probably can't afford that. Cool, so another one of those. Next up, Teach by Example. It's a 2-cost hybrid, double hybrid mana, and when you cast your next instant or sorcery spell this turn, copy that spell. You may choose new targets for the copy. And then most importantly, you get 3 Magecraft triggers. This one, the next spell, and the clone. Yeah, that's not bad. Next up, we got Archway Commons, a loud and proud common colorless land. I'm sure it'll be just as good as the rare one. It comes in tapped. Well, I lied. When it enters battlefield, sacrifice it unless you pay 1, and then it taps for any color. Okay, so it's just the 15th printing of that card over and over and over again. And here we go. Here's the one we've all been waiting for. Strixhaven Stadium. The reason to run a Universal Exiler or a Naturalize effect. Hey, look, it's Quidditch. Like, literally, just get closer to the screen. It's Quidditch. They're playing Quidditch. So it's an artifact. You can tap it and add 1 generic mana to your mana pool, because why the f*** not? I guess they thought it wasn't bad enough already without giving you a little bit of ramp. And then whenever a creature deals combat damage to you, remove a point counter from Strixhaven Stadium. And then whenever a creature you control deals combat damage to an opponent, put a point counter on Strixhaven Stadium. Then if it has 10 or more point counters on it, remove them all, and that player loses the game. I signed up to play Magic the Gathering, not whatever fruity-ass, bullshit fucking Quidditch ripoff this horse shit is. The last time people counted to 10, it was Infect, and people still have PTSD over that. Wait, I always forget, is it 11 or 10? You know what, who gives a shit? Oh, but this is completely different than Infect. You only hit them 10 times and then win the game. And then if it's double strike, you hit them 5 times. Okay, it's Infect. It's literally Infect. Well, at least we don't have an already popular $30 creature card that doubles counters named Vorinclex in the game, because that would really make this broken. Yeah, there's not a lot of artifact removal in the game right now, and there's going to have to be, just for douchebags playing this trash. Now, they do have to hit you 10 more times than you hit them, without, like, losing the game in the meantime. And the only real way to do that is to spam 1/1s, otherwise you're literally going to lose to the damage if they're all 2/2s. But going up against like a life gain, life link deck where that is your defense, you're just going to lose. And then if this is in a white life link deck, oh, watch out. I mean, yeah, the thing is then they'd feel overconfident to swing to get their counters, but then they'd feel like their life total can take hits from the opponent, which would then just reduce the numbers. So I don't know how well that would work. But in theory, it would keep them alive long enough to keep hitting you. I don't know. You know what? This card's garbage. It's another alternate win con that nobody asked for, nobody wanted, everybody hates right off the bat. Mark thinks it makes the game more dynamic and interesting, adds something new. It does, but it's nothing anybody wanted. In fact, it's something we all didn't want, and you need to listen to community feedback outside of your ass kisser bubble. So with alternate win condition cards, they're either 25-cent rare bulk, waste of space, just an absolute disappointment in a draft pack that just gets passed around 37 times until somebody, I hate to say money drafts it, that wouldn't really be the right term. Or it becomes a, $30 to $50 card because it's a viable tier 1 deck. It's chimpanzee easy, boring, repetitive, garbage, glass cannon, all-in bullshit combo. Everybody hates it, everybody resents it, and then everybody calls for it to get banned, and then Mark's like, no, it's my creation, it's my baby, I can't ban it. Those are the only two outcomes. Never is it something fun and interesting that adds to interesting gameplay. It's either it takes off and everybody hates it, or it's a complete waste of time and space and should have been a different card. Those are the only two outcomes when you design a card that is an alternate win con, which is why you should just stick to the existing win cons in the fucking game. And by that, I mean actually stop printing mill. I lied. Don't do that either. In fact, if you run out of cards in your library, new rule, you just keep proceeding with whatever's in play. Nobody wins, nobody loses. You just, see if you could pull it off. In fact, you know what? No, take your whole graveyard and recycle it and your exile pile back into a library and reassemble a library so you can keep playing. You, Mill. Yeah, alternate win cons are trash. Absolute trash. Always have been. They've never been appreciated or accepted by the community, and they never will be because they're garbage. Not at all like the chunky boy that's next. It's Reflecting Golem. I love this art. I don't give a shit what this card does. I love the card. That is a big, reflective, chunky monkey, and I love him. Anyway, apparently it's a 3-cost 2/3 artifact creature golem. Whenever you cast an instant or sorcery spell that targets only Reflecting Golem, you may pay 2 to copy it. Oh, neat. I like that. Well, then it's not a Reflecting Golem. That would be like, the spell Redirect. This is like a Forking Golem. Semantics, anyway. If you do, you may choose new targets for the copy. Can they just stop saying that? That's already a rule. You don't have to put it on the card, and if you do, you actually do have to put it in reminder text because that's what it is. If you clone a targeted spell, you can choose a new target. Everybody knows this. That has to be in the rules. It has to. Stop saying it on the card. Everybody knows this. Anyway, yeah, I actually do kind of like this. I mean, you got to pay 2 to pull it off. I mean, that said, though, boy, you put this in a Boosty Boy deck. I'm probably going to put this in a White-Red Rush deck. I mean, it is 3, and it's only 2 attack. That's not great. That's not a great place to start. But the 3 toughness will make it, stay alive in case they counterspell it. The boost, maybe? I don't know. I know I'm absolutely 100% running that damn deck, and I'm probably going to put Tybalt's in it just for memes. And Stone Coil in case of a miracle, but really just to, stop their degenerate board wipe shit. I will actually use it as a counterspell. Next up, it's Portuguese. Everything's falling apart. I don't know how to say it. It's, Dragonete Espinagulho. Oh, mi Portuguese is mal. Anyway, Dragonete Espinagulho here says, it's just a 1/1 for 2 flying Death Touch Drake. I'll take it. I mean, you guys know I'm a big fan of the 1/1 Death Toucher for 1 on the ground. Make a costume, put it in the air. Why the hell not? So next up, we got Cogwork Archivist. Oh, that would be a bitch if he runs your foot over. I have foot injury issues. It's in my recent memory. I'm very traumatized. Anyway, it's a 6-cost 4/5 with reach, and of course he's 12 feet tall. He's almost as tall as Jeremy. If you pay 2 and tap him, put target card from a graveyard on the bottom of its owner's library. Okay, this costs 6, so I hate to even do a callback to this, but remember when I said there's that other card that says whenever a card leaves your graveyard, per instance of the card leaving your graveyard, or per trigger, not including the number that left all at once. So it's per instance, whatever. Well, here's your enabler, except that it costs 6, so good luck, you'll never get this working. I think, what do you get out of that? Like a 3/2, yeah, 3/2 spirit, I think it was. Yeah, not worth it. You lose you pay 2 and you lose a 4/5. I mean, come on. Its ability to attack or block, you lose it in combat. Anyway, next up we got Aether Helix. It's a 5-cost sorcery. Return target permanent to its owner's hand. Return target permanent card from your graveyard to your hand. What are the odds that at the exact same time you need both of those things done? Not real high, but it is pretty generic. So it's like cool, but then like your whole deck usually involves planning ahead, not just, oh, this would be kind of nice if it comes up. So I'm going to say it's probably a draft card. Next up, oh, what is this? Fervent Mastery, a 5-cost red sorcery in rare. You may pay 4 instead. If the 4 cost was paid, that is the most awkward way to put it. Just put a damn comma. An opponent discards any number of cards, then draws that many cards. I assume that implies it's their choice what the number is, which then it just could be 0. Search your library for... Wait, okay, so this is the you paid 5 instead of 4 section. Or wait, is it? I mean, there was a paragraph break, so I assume so, because the rest are, like, one's a notifier, kind of, and one's like a condition, like an alternate casting cost with the effect. So then the actual spell starts there. Okay, so search your library for up to 3 cards, put them in your hand, shuffle, then discard 3 cards at random. But wait, do you get that if you pay the 4? Because it's a separate paragraph. Like, is it supposed to be part of the alternate casting cost? Because if it is, then you'd need to say it again for the 5 part? Because it's inside the 4 part? Or is the 4 part, it's not a, wait. Why do they do this? The 4 part maybe it's not an alternate casting thing, it's just, okay. Oh, that's why they split it apart. Because otherwise it would be an alternate casting cost. So it's not. They're just notifying you of an additional condition of the spell that checks the nature at resolution time, and it tacks on a second effect. So in theory, your opponent could get rid of all the cards they don't want and draw, in theory, better cards. If you cheaped out and lowered this by 1, and then regardless, you get to do it with 3. And then you clone it and everything goes to shit and who knows what happens. So, this card. Next up, Leone Light Scribe. It's a 2-cost 2/2. Boy, I remember Light Scribe. You flip the disc over and it laser etches it. Where's my Light Scribe enthusiast at? That's right. Literally nowhere. Those look like ass. So anyway, it's a cat cleric with magecraft. Whenever you cast or copy, what? You guys know what magecraft is. Whenever magecraft happens, creatures you control get +1/+1 till end of turn. Well, there's a game winner in Creature Rush Boost, Ambush Boost. That's a guaranteed lethal turn 4 right there. Next up, we got Eureka Moment. It's a 4-cost instant. Draw 2 cards. You may put a land card from your hand onto the battlefield. Because, of course you do. It's whatever the hell shitty college. You get unlimited lands and then Ugin. Yay. Next up, Emergent Sequence. It's a 2-cost sorcery. Search your library for a basic land card because of fucking course you do. Put it onto the battlefield tapped. Ooh, a direct dropper for 2. That's something. Then shuffle your library. I guess they forgot to put that. That land becomes a 0/0 green and blue fractal creature token that's still a land. Put a 1/1 counter on it for each land you had enter the battlefield under your control this turn, which is a lot. And then this triggers Magecraft, which lets you go get something that has learned, that lets you go get a lesson, that lets you go get another land while also triggering another Magecraft, which probably goes and gets you another land. Great. That won't be a broken cascading mess of garbage. Next up, Accomplished Alchemist. It's a 4-cost 2/5 elf druid. You tap it for mana, which, no you don't, it's a 4-cost. What a piece of garbage. You can also tap it and add X mana of 1 color, where X is the number of life you gain this turn. Oh, that's ridiculous. That'll be in some commander decks. Next up, Echoing Equation. It's a double-sided card here, because I forgot those were a thing. We still have those. God, this is going to be the worst set ever. 5-cost sorcery. Choose target creature you control. Each other creature you control becomes a copy of it until end of turn, except those creatures aren't legendary. Oh, good. It bypasses legendary. Wonderful. If the chosen creature is legendary. Clone everything, swing, win for 5. Yeah, great. Cool. Great. On the other side, Augmenter Pugilist. It's a 3-cost 3/3 troll druid with trample. As long as you control 8 or more lands, which you do, Augmenter gets +5/+5. Why even have to go get the giant 8/8 creature? You can just already have the giant 8/8 creature. And then spend the ramp on something even more degenerate, like more landfall triggers. Yay! Red-White Rush and Green-Blue Mana Ramp. Those are going to be the only 2 decks anybody's playing. Although I'll still blow the shit out of them with Cycling and Tybalt, so, I mean, add those 2 to the fire too, I guess. But that's it. That's all people are going to be able to play. Those 2 decks will be unbeatable. And finally, we got Cuerpo de Investigación. Investigation. I'm so American. Investigation. Anyway, it's a 6 cost, triple color. Conjuration, aka what actually is that? I forget actually. Sorcery, because it doesn't translate to sorcery, it translates to conjuration. Anyway, create a blue and green fractal creature token, put X11 counters on it where X, I assume, I'm reading a wrong translation when I could just translate my damn self, where X is the number of cards in your library. Let me just read the only thing that Saffron Olive has ever tweeted out in his entire life that has some vague semblance of truth to it. He wrote today, or I don't know, sometime, it's a little weird to me that fetch lands are off limits in standard because shuffling your library is too time consuming, which yes, Mark did say that, but cards that make you count your library are fair game. Thanks, Saffron, for making that point that I already said 3 times during these spoiler videos. I'm sure you're just copying me. I doubt you're intelligent enough to actually form that tweet on your own. Please, for the love of God, get rid of that man bun. So this is a giant waste of time that only works in digital? I'd actually rather just forfeit the game than watch you count your library 1 card at a time, and then probably manipulate the cards and put it back in reverse order accidentally. So yeah, this set of spoilers was the dumpster fire pile of flaming lava garbage to end all dumpster fires. At this point, I hope all the colleges burn. I hope the cult of quinoa or whatever destroys the entire college and takes all these dancing band kids, fine arts enthusiasts, broken free casting, mana ramping douchebags with them. And burn all the math homework. I think I used an exponent once in my entire life after high school. So anyway, I'm already sick about talking about this shit and I have to go edit now a 30-minute video and see all the cards again. Fucking great. I'll see you guys next video.